The topic of the session is on strengthening the European ecosystem for advanced therapy medicinal products and other innovative therapeutic modalities for rare diseases. And it's my colleague Natalie who is be leading this presentation. We also have on the call my colleague from the legal department, Desmond and Domenico, and my colleague Catherine. She's manning the chat for us.
Thank you very much, Rui, and good afternoon, everybody, or good lunch. And the next hour, we are going to present you this topic under the call 3, topic 4, strengthening the European translational research ecosystem for advanced therapy medicinal product for rare disease. Before this session, it's important to remember that we will introduce the IHI program because, again, it's good to understand the framework we are working on before moving on to the core topic and explaining a bit the challenge, the need for the public-private collaborative research, the scope, the outcome and impact, and the budget. Then we will touch slightly upon the submission evaluation preparation tips. But again, it is important to remember that we are not going to cover the rules and procedure since there was an extensive webinar held yesterday. And as we were saying, the slides are already available on the recording very shortly on our webpage. Similarly, we will not cover how to prepare the financial proposal. Again, this morning there was a very extensive webinar explaining all the financial aspect, and therefore we will again refer you to this webinar. The slides are already available and the recording very shortly. The Innovative Health Initiative is a new partnership in health as a public-private partnership between the European Union, represented by the European Commission, and the Healthcare Industry Association, represented by COSIR, that covered the medical imaging, radiotherapy, health ICT, and electromedical industry. EFPR included Vaccine Europe, that are covering the pharmaceutical and vaccine industry. Europa Bio, the biotechnology industry, and MedTech Europe, the medical technology industry. So it's important to remember that we are functioning under this public-private partnership, and you will see that we often refer to this concept. It's important to remember. In terms of for a general objective, these are set in our legislation and they're very ambitious, that are to turn health research and innovation into real benefits for patients and society, deliver safe, effective health innovation that cover the entire spectrum of care, so from prevention to diagnosis to treatment, particularly in areas where there is an unmet public health need, and makes Europe health industry globally competitive. Now, along this general objective, we have some specific objectives that are defined, that are more specified in our strategic research and innovation agenda, that again explain more what are the activities and what are the type of code or topic that could be launched under IHI. The focus is really on these cross-sectoral approaches to facilitate the creation of new products and services to prevent, intercept, diagnose, treat and manage disease and foster recovery more efficiently. So again, this importance of the cross-sectoriality, since we have addressing all the health industries, and the goal to lay the foundation for the development of safer and more effective healthcare product and solution that respond to unmet public health needs and that can be implemented into healthcare system. Important to remember is that the research that is supported through IHI should remain at the pre-competitive level. We are not here to develop a specific product, etc. We are at the pre-competitive level. And if you want to hear more about the strategic and research and innovation agenda, here is the link where you can read at ease what we are going to do within this program. Now, how IHI works, and especially here, since we are talking about the topic 4 of the call 3, which addresses single stage procedure. So today, as was mentioned, the call has been launched. So that means that now we are expected to receive proposals submitted by applicants. And when we say the applicants here, it concerns applicant consortium having private partners as well as public partners in a sense of academics, regulator, healthcare professional, patient organization, HTA body. We can have as well contributing partners being part of this consortium. Now, you will have to straight away submit what we call, between brackets, the full proposal. That will be evaluated, and that will be a competition evaluation, a competitive evaluation. And based on the scoring and ranking, you may be invited for the grant preparation and signature if successful. But let's now talk about the topic that we have under this topic 4 about ATMPs for rare disease. So in terms of the challenge, it's important to remember, and I'm sure that those of you who are dealing with rare disease know better, that we have more than 7,000 rare disease resulting in, even if we have few patients for the rare disease, in total we have more than 30 million patients in Europe suffering of a rare disease. But less than 10% of the rare disease patients receive treatment, and only 1% are managed using an approved treatment. Advanced therapy medicinal products such as gene and cell therapies and other related innovative therapeutic modalities are very promising to treat patients with rare disease, and especially the ultra-rare ones. But these products rely on complex technologies where the development process is hampered by the lack of standardization, scalability, and reproducibility. So these are the important elements of the challenge that this topic is trying to address. But why do we need a public-private partnership and a cross-sector collaboration? This cross-sector collaboration in a trustful manner among all the stakeholders is key to drive innovative science and technology solution and to remove the key technical bottlenecks. So we need to bring together all the relevant stakeholders as part of the applicant consortia in order to really address these challenges. The collaboration between the research institution, clinics, who often conduct early research, but as well with the biotech, SMEs, pharma, and medical technology companies. This is critical if we want to ensure that all the approaches will be translated. But we need to bring as well on board the unique expertise of patient and advocacy in rare disease. This is essential to move forward this effort. Earlier engagement with regulators is fundamental if we want to ensure that the technologies are fit for purpose. We need as well the connection with the clinicians and rare disease networks to ensure that there is an integrated development pathways for advanced therapy medicinal product for rare disease. Now, this topic has an overall aim to optimize and streamline the development of ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities for rare disease by strengthening the ecosystem that facilitate the transition of early preclinical proof of concept research to clinical development, and to focus the scientific, technological, and regulatory barriers that are limiting translational research into rapid and cost-effective development of ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities for rare disease. So again, this is important to see that this topic is actually towards the bench side for the development of ATMPs. But if we look more into the detail to achieve this overall aim, the topic defined a number of objectives that the proposal should address. First of all, is to establish a network of scientific and technical center for excellence that can be new and or existing laboratories, institutions that are complementing each other and that enable the translational research in ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities relevant for the future treatment of genetically defined disease. So what we expect is that this center will provide access and advanced translatable quality control technologies, but of course share as well data and build capacity to assist industrial and academic developers of ATMPs. Therefore, we said that it's focusing on the technical side of the development of ATMPs. They're expected to explore the establishment of connection with clinical network, including the European Reference Network on Rare Disease. Now, the second objective of this topic that the proposal will have to address is to develop tools and methods and define key characteristics of ATMPs and quality standards that are critical to later stage of the development of ATMPs, in particular those targeting rare disease with no approved treatment option. Now, the relevant therapeutic modalities must include appropriate vector systems and innovative modalities such as messenger RNA and nanoparticles for therapeutics. Now, in terms of technology areas of interest, that could include targeted delivery. So, for instance, method to target distribution. Stability, so for instance, method to increase the stability of RNA. Transgene expression, advanced reducing technology approaches, reduce immunogenicity of gene delivery platforms, and underlying biology relevant to the specific therapeutic modality, enabling, again, accelerated translation to clinical development and manufacturing. Now, the third objective is to develop and support the uptake of standardized analytical assays, method, and technological platforms over non-clinical method and design strategy, as well as translation processes for reducing the time frame and cost and improving the future development of ATMPs, and/or to optimizing the manufacturing process to maintain product quality while ensuring a broad accessibility of critical manufacturing materials and demonstrating the economy of scale for ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities. The fourth objective is to demonstrate the translatability, scalability, and robustness of technologies suitable for the development of subsequent ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities. And this may include process development, mRNA and MPs and nanoparticle scale-up and stability, vector production, increasing the throughput of the systematic assessment of the biological and mechanistic features and product characterization, and ensuring broad accessibility of critical manufacturing materials such as cell lines and producer plasmids. Now, the fifth objective is to assess the method and technological platform developed for their translational and regulatory validity and utility. This is very important because, of course, we want to make sure that all the method will be fit for fit for purpose for the development of ATMPs. Another aspect is to define a regulatory pathways, taking into account the evolving regulatory environment and the interplay between all the applicable legislation for the development of ATMPs. So for that, it's important to ensure early engagement with regulators so that the method and the data generated on the future project will support the regulatory needs. The fifth objective is to validate the performance of the method and technologies developed and demonstrate their higher performance in comparison to existing methods for addressing the bottlenecks in the development and manufacturing cycle of ATMPs. In addition, it's important that with the establishment of this Center of Excellence and this network, that we test the functionality of these centers and demonstrate their capability and performance to support the translational research through use cases. So these use cases, it's important to ensure that there will be a way of bringing some use cases from external parties. So to achieve this, the submitted proposal must plan for an open expression of interest or an open call process to invite third parties external to the initially established consortium to submit use cases at least twice during the lifetime of the project. This is to ensure as well that we keep in pace with the evolution of the science. These use cases must showcase the utility and validity of the methods and technologies developed and verify that they are fit for purpose in the context of the scientific, technological, or regulatory challenges. And what is important as well through these use cases, it's that it measure and help to adjust the capability and the performance of the centers and network of excellence in assisting industrial and academic developers of ATMPs in their translational research. What is important to remember is that for the use cases, the clinical validation of technological solution developed would be in scope of the topic, of course, within the framework of the above objective. But while the conducting randomized controlled trials are out of scope of this topic, but other forms of clinical studies might be in scope if they are useful for again, proceeding with the clinical validation of the technological solutions. The seventh objective is to contribute to strengthening the European rare disease ecosystem by engaging all the relevant stakeholders, especially patients and patient representatives from the rare disease, carers, clinicians, and regulators. An important aspect as well would be to define relevant metrics and measure the use of the Center of Excellence by the relevant stakeholders for the development of their asset or novel technological solution therapies. And finally, to define a plan for the sustainability. Again, we want to have all that is sustainable after the lifetime of the project. And to ensure that it will be used, exploited, upscaling, but as well including consideration for potential expansion to additional promising technological areas. Now, another consideration that is important to keep in mind is that there are quite a number of initiatives already ongoing on rare disease. So it will be very important to have all this in mind to plan for synergies and collaboration. And here are some examples of these initiatives, such as the Accelerating Medicine Partnership Bespoke Gene Therapy Consortium in the US, the IMI Project ARDAT, the European Joint Programme on Rare Disease, and the future European Partnership on Rare Disease, and of course, all the other relevant EU funding projects on rare disease. Now, what are the expected outcomes coming out of this project? Well, we expect to have a sustainable network of Center of Excellence that should advance the most promising, impactful, translatable, quality control technologies that address the bottlenecks in the development of ATMPs and other related innovative therapeutic modalities, such as the use of messenger RNA or nucleic acids or nanoparticles delivery for gene editing. This sustainable network should make these technologies accessible to all actors involved in the development of ATMPs, including the research community, academia, clinics, small and medium-sized enterprise, healthcare professional, biotech, medical technology, and pharmaceutical companies and patients. And finally, they should really ensure to share the information, the processes, and the method, and build the capacity in science and technology and regulatory awareness of ATMPs, including the ability to assist industrial and academic developers of ATMPs in their translational research. Now, the other expected outcome is, of course, to have some consensus reached on quality standards, for instance, on an analytical method that can be used, and the translation process by ATMP community at large that support the timely and robust development of ATMPs. We expect, of course, to have a strengthened interaction with regulators to enable a more streamlined and transparent regulatory pathway that will optimize and speed up the development and delivery of ATMPs for rare disease for the benefit of patients, carer, healthcare system, and society at large. And finally, we expect to have improved technologies and processes, analytical tools, method, including non-clinical method, and assays useful for the development of ATMPs that goes beyond those targeted rare and ultra-rare disease. Indeed, even if the topic is focusing on the rare disease, of course, ATMPs and NTMPs, some of this will be useful for the ATMPs in general. Now, in terms of expected impact, we of course look to have an impact and benefits for patients both with rare and ultra-rare disease, and who may gain from effective and safe advanced therapy medicinal product and other related innovative therapeutic modalities. We expect impact for having a better and more cost-effective development path for ATMPs due to improved scientific and technological processes. And as I said, even if this is especially for those ATMPs intended both for the treatment of rare and those who are currently underserved disease by current therapies, and the latter often being of genetic origin. We want to have Europe becoming more attractive for the development of ATMPs due to the ability of the sustained interconnecting networks of technological and scientific center of excellence. And for the focus is, as I tried to allude a lot during this presentation, that is on translational research. Of course, linkage to clinical networks, including the European Reference Network on Rare Disease, will enhance their activities. And the same is true for the synergies to be developed with the European Joint Program on Rare Disease and the future European Partnership on Rare Disease. Again, it's to make Europe more friendly ecosystem for the development of rare disease. And that will set a more efficient and effective pathway for the development of treatment modalities for patients with rare disease in Europe. And finally, we expect benefits for a broader range of disorders beyond the rare disease domain due to a more robust development of ATMPs and other related therapeutic modalities, as well as knowledge transfer across actors in the ATMP for the ATMP development. So that's covering the topic, but of course it's important now to look at the budget. So what we are talking about in terms of the total public funding available for this topic is 30 million. And considering the breadth and all the objectives that are expected to be fulfilled, we estimate that IHI financial contribution of around 20 to 30 million would allow proposal to address the topic outcomes appropriately. Now, for I said that we are not going to touch on all the financial aspects. It's important to remember in a single stage, at least 45% of the total budget of each proposal and project must be covered by contribution provided by the IHI private members and contributing partners. Now, in terms of the duration of the project or the proposed project, there is no set defined duration, but applicants should propose a project duration that matches with the project activities and the expected outcomes and impact. Now, a couple of points important as well to remember. Because that will be something that you need to think already when preparing a proposal, is to communicate and disseminate results throughout the full lifespan of the project. So a plan for dissemination and exploitation measure is to be thought of to maximize the impact. And an important point for this particular topic that you will see in the topic text that has been published today is that it needs to include elements that is in line with the availability, accessibility, and affordability provision, what we sometimes call the 3A provision. So this is important because this provision applies to this particular topic. The plan for communication measured for promoting the project and its finding. So what is important to remember is that at the time of the proposal submission, we will need to have a short description of the plan for the dissemination, exploitation, and communication activities together with the impact pathways. This is an admissibility condition, but we will expect a full-fledged plan submitted as a deliverable after 6 months in the project. And the little diagram below explains to you a little bit more that it's important to have a strategic planning even before the start of the project, and at the start of the project to start straight away with the communication of the project. Of course, at the start there is no result, but it's already to have some communication, and as soon as we have the first result, to disseminate the result and to see for the exploitation. So this is an important element. And this slide is just showing you the impact pathway that you will need to think of in your proposal, that really define going from the specific needs, the expected result, what could be the measures, the target groups, the outcomes, and the impact. So this is just a brief summary that you can see in your proposal template and how you will need to think along this line for preparing your impact. But that means that, of course, you need to make sure that you reserve a budget and resources for this dissemination, exploitation, and communication activities. Now, in terms of proposal submission and evaluation, again, as I said, we are not going to repeat all the rules that have already been presented in a separate webinar, but we want to touch on a couple of things that, again, it's important to remember, is that the proposal template will have a part A, which is the administrative data that is entered in web form through the funding and tenders portal, and the part B, which is the narrative part, and that includes 3 sections: excellence, impact, quality, and efficiency of the implementation. Now, the only advice we can give you is really read the instruction very carefully from the proposal template, because it explains what is expected to see under each of the sections. There are some annexes as well that need to be filled in: participant type, budget details, and if relevant, the clinical studies template that is there, if you have some clinical studies in your proposal. In terms of the criteria, I won't read all this evaluation criteria, but it's very important to remember that they mirror the structure of the proposal, meaning we have 3 criteria: excellence, impact, and the quality and efficiency of the implementation. What is very important to remember, and you can read at your leisure the sub-criteria, is to see how the evaluators will or what will be the criteria that the evaluators will look at when doing their evaluation on your proposal. Now, in terms of threshold, there is a threshold for each of the criteria, which is 3, and an overall threshold, which is 10. Now, just a couple of points before closing and finishing this presentation: tips for applicants. So we cannot enough emphasize the need to read carefully all the call relevant material, especially the call topic, but as well all the call documents, and that you can find them now under the IHI Call 3 for the topic text, and the apply for funding call documents for all the relevant documents that you will need to prepare your proposal. You have to start forming your consortium early, and always think public-private partnership. Again, this is important. This is why it was emphasized at the beginning. We are in this configuration of public-private partnership, and therefore this has to be really taken into account when you propose your proposal, and include partners, of course, which are bringing the in-kind contribution, since there is this condition of reaching at least 45%. You need to ensure that all the information requested in the call text and in the proposal template is provided. Again, your proposal will be evaluated by experts, and they can only evaluate what is in the proposal. So that really make it easier for the expert if you have addressed all the points, but as well to make sure that you have a chance for being scored nicely. Now we here in this particular topic, I think we have emphasized already the regulatory aspects that is important to keep in mind. That for sure it's something that you need to plan for. Now, in terms of finding project partners, so you need to build or to join a consortium. So you can definitely network through your contacts and as well through this opportunity of this IHI Call Days. You can use the EU funding Tenders Portal partner search tool. You can get in touch with your national contact point, network on social media. And of course, we have this B2 Match platform. So now you can book your meetings and make yourself available, look for partners of the participants or organization tab, select date, time, attendees, and add messages and send the meeting request or wait for the reply. So this platform is certainly open and will be open till the April 2023. I think we have reached the end. I mean, there is this slide again. We won't go through, but it's to make sure that it's important that everybody keeps in mind what we are talking about. Some of these rules for the budget. But again, I won't go through since we have already a very extensive financial webinar held today, so I will refer that to you. And then the pitching session that are organized, and you have here the time for and the dates and time for all the pitching sessions. So we will certainly invite you to join those. And that concludes this presentation, and we look forward to any question you may have.
Great. Thank you very much, Nathalie, for your presentation. And also, I'd like to remind you again that the Call 3 was launched today, and all the information is on our website. Now we have some time for your questions. Please use the chat should you have any questions for us. We already have a few submitted, so I'll start with the first one, which is Nathalie, I think this is related to you. So is the call related only to rare diseases or also for diseases with unmet needs?
So the call is certainly targeted rare disease.
Okay.
As it is in this title.
So phase 1 and 2A studies are in the scope? So
what is mentioned into the topic text that you will have the opportunity to read carefully is that, so for sure, full randomized controlled trials are out of scope for, again, the specific purpose of doing the clinical validation of technological solution. Now, other forms of clinical studies are in scope and may include pilot clinical studies, observational studies, real-world data studies. But again, it depends on the needs of the proponents for the use cases. So again, you have to link with what is the objective of this code. So it's not to do per se a phase 1, phase 2. It has to be with relation of the purpose of the objective, that is to do the clinical validation of clear technological solution developed.
That's great. Thank you very much, Nathalie. And our next question is, cell-based ATMPs are also eligible? And the comment is that much of the text is focused on gene therapy-based technology.
Well, yeah, it is in scope. I think again, it's looking at all the technologies for the development of ATMP. So yes.
So, and the next question is: necessary technical infrastructure expected to be provided by third parties in open calls or provided by consortium partners? So they need to have like the infrastructure.
I'm not so sure I understand this question. When I refer to the open call, it was only in relation to the use cases. Okay. Now, for this technical infrastructure, I'm not so sure what is referred to if we are talking about the clinical, Center of Excellence network to be established. So I'm not so sure, sorry.
So are all points from the scope should be addressed by a single consortium?
Yes, this is mentioned in the topic text.
And is there a specific budget amount percentage for third parties?
No, that is really up to the applicant to propose and to think of this.
And from this call topic, how many proposals are expected to be funded?
Well, as I mentioned, so we have a total budget of 30 million for the IHI financial contribution. We expect that each needs to have quite a substantial, because there are quite a number of objectives to be fulfilled, so that they would need. So we don't have a preset defined number of proposals that will be funded. I think we'll have to see based on the result and the ranking and what is available.
Okay. And we have one more question about are rare conditions also in scope? Example, spinal cord injury is listed on this website, or FNAT, but design is a condition. So it's I would refer to the call text.
I think again, rare disease. We don't specify any rare disease in the or any rare condition in the topic. It's up to the applicant and to justify. Again, remember that this is more looking at the bench side of the development of. But there is no specific rare disease mentioned. So whatever the applicant think of and is relevant for achieving the objective of the topic.
Thank you, Natalie. And we have a next question is, so how do you envision an interaction with the regulatory bodies?
So again, it's up to the applicant to think about it. Now, there is the possibility to have a regulators part of the applicant consortium. There is nothing preventing for that, and they can receive funding. Now, if the regulators, even if they are or they are not, there are many opportunities for interacting with the regulators, including if we talk about the European Medicine Agency, they do have several opportunities for interacting through the advice, through the innovative task force, briefing meeting, etc. So it's again, there are many recommendations that can be found and that can be envisaged by the applicant depending on how the proposal is articulated.
Thank you very much, Natalie. And we have one question or two questions related to CRISPR technology. Is the development of this technology, CRISPR, also in the scope?
It's the scope is described in the topic. It's up to the applicant to defend if that is part of the scope and will be looked by the evaluators.
And when you mention standardization, is this primarily European, CEN, or is also international like ASTM relevant?
Again, I think it's really up to the applicant to define. Again, what is important is that, of course, all these technologies and all this method that we arrive at a level of standardization is up to the applicant to, in their proposal, to see what would be the best to achieve the objective.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Natalie. We're still waiting. So this is the time. Should you have any questions, just use the chat to reach out. And as Natalie mentioned, please read carefully the call topic texts because they might have changed from the draft version to the final version, and everything is available on our website. So if there's no other questions, we are just closing this session. Another reminder, all the presentations and the recordings will be available on our website. We will send you the link once they are published. Sorry, just coming back to another question. So it's going back to how many applications are expected to be funded for this call. So it's
well, as I said, we have an envelope. We have ourselves estimated what we think could be achieved by the or what would be a reasonable financial contribution for proposal to achieve the objective. Now, of course, it's up to each applicant, and once there is the evaluation, there will be a scoring ranking list. So everything potentially that is above threshold could potentially be financed if we are within this total envelope of 30 million.
Okay.
So it's very hard at this stage to preempt how many will be, if it will be 1, 2, or more.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Natalie. So we do have one more question, and is the development of non-viral gene delivery technology also in the scope?
Well, again, in this type of question, I would refer you to the objective of the topic, and it's really up to each applicant to see whether the technological or the technique proposed will fulfilled and why, and it will be up to the evaluators to review the proposal, considering again all the elements and how this addressed the overall objective of the topic.
So I just think we need to clarify something about the envelope that you have and how many projects will be funded, because one of the questions is only one of the projects going to be funded with the 30 million? The answer is
within the 30 million. Yes, that's the envelope for this particular topic.
Okay, but how many projects from this envelope can be funded by those 30 million?
So this is, I said, it depends on how will be the scoring, the ranking, and anything potentially above threshold could be financed, could be funded. However, if indeed the first rank has applied for 20 million, and the second one has applied for 10 million, we can fund the two, but we are still within this envelope of 30 million.
Okay. Okay, I think it's clear. Thank you very much, Natalie. And I think there's a few questions also about the deadlines. All the information about the deadlines is also on our website, so I would refer to that. And my colleague Catherine just posted this on the 15th of March for call 3. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the session, and we look forward to seeing you at the pitching session, which starts at 3:30 this afternoon. Have a nice day.